Hello everyone, this is Miss Siddiqui here. In this video we will cover Sound Devices 2.0 for our poetry unit. Let's get started. So the objectives for this video lesson are to define alliteration, assonance, and consonance, and to be able to identify, explain the effects of, and give examples of alliteration, consonance, and assonance. So, alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of words that start with the same consonant sound. So for example, some silly students sing sad songs. The repetition is the consonant S. So some silly students sing sad songs. Also, Greg gave Greta grapes from Grandma's. That's alliteration. Sally Sue sang songs to Susie on the seashore. Peter paid Pedro 5 pesos for the pencils. Tanya took 10 tomatoes to Tito on Tuesday. So alliteration has an appeal for its sound, but it can also be used in conjunction with other literary devices to enhance the quality of the poetry, like personification, imagery, simile, metaphor, symbol. Alliteration is a type of sound device. It is the repetition of initial consonant sounds. Remember, it's not just similar letters, it's similar sounds. So not pig and phone, which both have P, because that's a different sound, but dirty dog, because that's the same D sound. So, some examples from real poetry are from Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping. So notice how the alliteration adds to the aesthetic quality of the line. Nodded, nearly napping. Or from this poem, Helplessly Hoping, this has lots of alliteration all highlighted here. Helplessly hoping, her harlequin hovers nearby, gasping at glimpses, wordlessly watching, he waits by the window and wonders. Heartlessly helping himself to her bad dreams, he worries, did he hear a goodbye or even hello? Stand by the stairway, you'll see something. Certain to tell you confusion has its cost. Love isn't lying, it's loose in a lady who lingers, saying she is lost and choking on hello. So this poem is rich with alliteration, and you can see how this adds to the aesthetic quality of the poem as you're hearing it. The next sound device we'll talk about is assonance. So assonance is the repetition of similar vowel sounds within neighboring words, sounds, not letters. So for example, how is the brown cow bowing down? Did you hear that? How is the brown cow bowing down? So that is the repetition of the similar O sound. How, brown, cow, bowing down. Be careful that you are listening to the sounds and not just looking at the letters. For example, cat and matter, not cat and father. Cat and matter have assonance with the A sound, but cat and father have a different A sound, so therefore they are not assonance. Assonance is again a sound device, but it can be used in conjunction with personification, symbol, imagery, simile, metaphor, and it's simply a way of enhancing those other literary devices by adding an aesthetic sound quality. So, for example, fleet feet sweep by sleeping streets. Beans means Heinz, he gave a nod to the officer with a pocket. Fleet and feet and sweep and sleeping and streets all have that double E. Beans and means have that EA vowel sound, and then nod and officer and pocket all have that O sound. So this is common in a lot of poetry, and actually music is a form of poetry, music lyrics. So if you know Eminem, the song Lose Yourself, has lots of assonance in it. So I've highlighted them for you here. Right? His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. That whole first line has that sound. There's vomit on his sweater already, mom spaghetti. You can see in conjunction with the first and second line we've got a repeat of vowel sounds. So you can see everything highlighted here, and you can pause the video if you'd like to. Look closely, right? What he wrote down, the whole crowd go so loud, right? That is so rhythmic because of the O assonance sound. And then here are some examples from famous poetry from Annie Dillard, William Shakespeare, and William Butler Yeats. So we've got full fathom 5, thy father lies, or those images that yet fresh images beget, that dolphin torn, that gone tormenting sea. I've highlighted all the vowel sounds in blue that are repeated that create the assonance. And then the final sound device we'll talk about in this video is called consonance. So consonance is the loose repetition of consonant sounds at the ends of words or syllables. You can kind of remember consonant sounds, consonants. So for example, all tall mammals have 5 ways to live or survive, right? We've got that ol sound in the first 3 words, and then we have 5, live, survive, that V sound. So again, it's a loose repetition of consonant sounds. So tall, all, mammal, 5, live, survive. So poets often use near rhyme when they find it difficult to maintain a sound pattern of exact rhyme, or if they want more variety in their poetry. Near rhyme, and in turn consonance, can allow for many more choices in sounds to create whatever effect the poet desires. So remember in Sound Devices 1.0 we talked about, sometimes you use exact rhyme, sometimes you use half rhyme. So consonance, again, allows the writer to have a little more freedom and not be married to having an exact rhyme, just like we don't have to have an exact repetition of a sound in language. So like dog and bog and dog and bug, right? The first pair shows exact rhyme, dog and bog, whereas the second shows consonants, dog and bug. In dog and bug, the G sound is repeated, but the vowel before that sound is different. A poet uses consonants can maintain a pattern of consonant sounds without having to limit himself to words with exact rhyme. So that G sound still offers the same aesthetic quality, but it doesn't have to be that OG sound of rhyme. So, some examples. Let the boy try along this bayonet blade. How cold steel is, and keen with hunger of blood, blue with all malice like a madman's flash, and thinly drawn with famishing for flesh. So blade and blood and flash and flesh have consonants, and the effect of this is that it really helps us to understand how unprepared this boy described in the poem is for war and for entering war. So you didn't have to have an exact rhyme, but getting to use the words blade and blood really conveyed the idea of the poem, and we still had the same aesthetic quality of consonants with similar sounds, even if it's a loose repetition of a similar sound. Same with flash and flesh. So that's from a poem by Wilfred Owen. And then here's from Shel Silverstein, who you might know his books from childhood. I'll swing by my ankles, she'll cling to your knees as you hang by your nose. So this is from a poem, Acrobats, and you'll see that ankles, knees, and nose all have that S consonant sound, but it's not exact, but it adds to the aesthetic quality that helps us kind of get more into the image of an acrobat that Shel Silverstein is trying to convey. So sometimes poets have to make choices about what they want to focus on, and here it's the imagery of seeing this acrobat while still maintaining some repetition of sound with consonants, but not exact rhyme. So that is the last term for Sound Devices 2.0. Make sure in your notes you've got a definition for alliteration, for assonance, and for consonants, and make sure you know how to identify them and their significance. Thanks for watching.